In June 1942, the most decisive naval battle of the Second World War was fought between the United States of America and the Japanese Empire. Waged entirely by aircraft carriers, hundreds of miles apart, the Battle of Midway was the first major fleet encounter in which the ships on each side never came within visual range of enemy vessels. Victory or defeat depended not on the big guns of battleships, but on carrier-borne bombers and torpedo bombers flying over vast tracts of ocean to seek and destroy their targets. Midway was the dawn of a new era in naval warfare. For Japan, the Battle of Midway was intended to be the linchpin of a great campaign to extend the frontiers of the empire far into the Pacific. Midway Island, a vital American outpost, was to be attacked and invaded, and the United States Pacific Fleet, sailing to its defense with America's few precious aircraft carriers, would be ambushed and destroyed. If the remnants of American naval power were finally broken, Japanese mastery of the Pacific could never again be challenged. In fact, in the Battle of Midway, the Japanese carrier fleet, the mightiest in existence, was utterly destroyed, and Japan suffered her greatest defeat for over 300 years. At Midway, Japan, at the height of her military power, lost not only a major naval engagement, but in a single day doomed the Japanese Empire to ruin and defeat. Since the early 1930s, Japanese conquests in China had caused ever-increasing friction with the United States. From mid-1940, the Americans had banned exports of arms, scrap iron, and other strategic materials to the Japanese Empire. Then, in July 1941, America led an international oil embargo and froze all Japanese overseas assets. The effect was devastating. Up to now, 90% of Japan's oil had been imported, and her stockpiles were rapidly dwindling. With time running out, a fateful decision was taken by the Japanese leadership: to invade and conquer neighboring territories rich in oil and other raw materials. First, a major obstacle would have to be eliminated: the American Pacific Fleet, anchored at Hawaii. Just before dawn on the morning of December the 7th, 1941, 360 bombers and fighters were launched from Japanese aircraft carriers 230 miles north of Hawaii. Their target was the 3 carriers and the 8 battleships of the United States Pacific Fleet based at Pearl Harbor. Within 2 hours, 18 American warships, including 6 battleships, were sunk, and 90 more vessels were damaged by bombs or torpedoes. Almost 200 planes were destroyed on the ground, and over 3,500 US personnel killed or wounded. The Japanese lost only 29 aircraft. It was a stunning victory. Shortly after noon the next day, the United States declared war on the Japanese Empire. With the destruction of the US Pacific Fleet, the way was open for the Japanese campaign of conquest. Garrisons throughout the region had already been secretly strengthened, and thousands of troops assembled in preparation for the onslaught. Hours after the raid on Pearl Harbor, Japanese planes attacked American air bases on Wake Island, Guam, and Luzon in the Philippines. With complete air superiority, the Japanese launched their invasions. Forces in French Indochina, already held by the Japanese, rapidly advanced into Thailand and Burma. Troops from the island of Hainan landed in Malaya. The same day, an advanced raiding force invaded the Philippines and was soon followed by landings in strength. Over the next 3 weeks, Wake Island and Hong Kong fell to the Japanese. Borneo and Celeb were invaded, and Sumatra was occupied. On February the 19th, Japanese aircraft carriers launched a lightning raid on Port Darwin in northern Australia, sinking 12 merchant ships and eliminating Darwin as a valuable Allied base. Early March saw the climax of the Japanese expansion, the inevitable occupation of Java. In a little over 3 months, Japan had conquered a quarter of the Pacific Ocean. By securing a steady supply of oil and widening the defensive perimeter of the homeland, Japan had achieved all her immediate war aims. Yet in spite of the breathtaking scale of the Japanese victories, there did remain one major threat to the security of her Pacific conquests. 3 aircraft carriers of the United States Pacific Fleet had escaped the carnage of Pearl Harbor, and within weeks they had each become the nucleus of a new task force. After minor raids on the Marshall and Gilbert Islands, 2 of the American carriers set sail on one of the most audacious missions of the Pacific War, to bomb Tokyo, the heart of the Japanese Empire. Early in April 1942, the aircraft carrier Hornet headed west from the U.S. naval base at Alameda in California to rendezvous with sister ship Enterprise sailing from Pearl Harbor. Skillfully avoiding the protective chain of Japanese-held islands, Hornet and Enterprise penetrated to within 825 miles of the coast of Japan. At 0824, on the 18th of April, 16 Mitchells took off from Hornet and struck a course for the Japanese capital. Flying low, they avoided Japan's fighter defenses, and 15 air